Welcome everyone to the Undressed Podcast here at the Astana. I want to give you a little bit of an idea why undressed, because it can obviously be interpreted in many different ways. And I feel like it's so important to kind of uncover and get rid of all these layers that we have and really have an open, honest dialogue between men and women and bring all of these things to the table that we usually don't really discuss. We don't understand about each other, they frustrate us, and all these different opinions that we have. And we want a very raw, honest, transparent conversation with each other. Everything is welcome. We can totally disagree with each other too. And there's no clear structure. I want a very intimate, beautiful conversation rather than it's not an interview style. Yeah? Cool. So to start off, let's start here with Taja. And everyone just say their name and give us a 30, 60-second elevator pitch of who you are and what you want everyone to know.
Beautiful. Thank you for having me and us. I'm so excited for this conversation today. My name is Taja Andrade, and should I look at you?
You look wherever you want to. You can look where I sit, and you can look into the camera. It's up to you.
And I have been in this world of personal development for the last maybe 12 years or more. I have an online and future school where I serve female leaders to become more magnetic, more in touch with their feminine magnetism and their power. We cover topics around abundance, money, intimacy, relationships, whatever it's a life in the moment. And we have multiple courses to cover those things with invited guests. And obviously, it's a worldwide international community. Super happy now I live here in Bali. We're getting into the States and all the things, and super excited for this new phase. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited. My name is Kimala. I'm from England. I've been living in Bali for the past 3 years and fell in love with the community and just the growth I've experienced here. And since 2012, I've been diving deep into transformational work and personal growth and more recently spiritual development. And I created a company called The Soul to Get, which supports women to dig deep in their soul and fully express themselves in the world, not only with their soul and who they are, but why they're here and who they're here to be, and living fully self-expressed, not be able to, just living completely free and with absolutely never, ever, ever needing to make a decision based on budget and just living the most express life.
Why only for women?
Men included too.
Oh, yeah?
Ready?
Listen to the skirt.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I'm Sarah, based in Bali also. This place has always drawn me in and feels like home. And I think it's because of the beautiful people you meet here and the beautiful conversations you get to have. And I really love delving into truth. And that's led me on a path of really creating a big global kind of community where called the Freedom Frequency. And we have thousands of people around the world. I do particularly work with men. Sorry, Sasha. Men are welcome, but we just tend to attract more women. And it's really helping people to, create a life they love. And we do a lot of what's on your vision, what's your heaven on earth you love to create. And then we help people with the time, resources, so they can be really present for it they loved in their life. And I love leaning in. So I'm excited to lean in and have these conversations.
Awesome. Thank you.
My name is Axel Fabricius, Sweden. Been here in Bali for a few weeks now. I got an invite from my dear friend and team leader Gary to come here and join the Breath Masters family. Those of you who don't know, we're part of a big mission, just sharing the best tools we have found over the years to help people reduce some suffering and come back into the essence of home so we can have a more peaceful life within and share a more peaceful life without outside of me.
Amazing.
I'm here feeling blessed. I'm happy to be here and see where this conversation goes in all directions, and open to learn today.
Beautiful. Welcome to Bali, man.
Thank you for the welcome.
My name is Gustavo Hess. I'm a real estate developer, and I also do business development for a market-making firm, financial services here in Asia. basically.
That's it.
Yeah.
You're just a business kind of guy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm James. I run 2 businesses here. One is a marketing agency and other trained service industry staff. I've been here for a year. Don't know yet whether I can call this place home because we have plans in the future. But Bali right now is awesome and the people here are awesome. So I'm really enjoying my time here.
Awesome. Cool. Now we get to know each other. Now we can dive deep. So the topic, and I told all of you so you can really think about this, I told all of you guys about this before, is sex on the first date. So I want to go around now, and it's just a yes or no question. And then we explore it all together. So Taja.
Why is no starting? What?
Sex on the first date. You up for it or no?
In the moment, I will decide. Yes.
It's a good answer. You can go with that.
Is it personal or collective?
No, for you. Like we want to move away from generalities, if that's the word. I'm not quite sure it is. Cool, thank you. And like really explore, where do we stand? Because more often than not, as you mentioned before, it's like, well, I actually had to tune in with myself. Where do I actually stand for this? You know?
I personally am a no.
Okay.
No.
No. Yes. Yes.
Cool. I'm a big no too. Actually, it's a yes and no, but we don't.
It's like, hey, three get together, or is it like there's one?
Yeah.
I'll share more of it, but I would love to hear you guys. So
Exactly. There was just to the answer. Yeah.
Yeah.
So who was a strong no?
Well, I was a no, and you were like, oh, for that change, yes,
Right now in that moment, it's basically in.
say no.
Why?
Because I'm in a stage of life where I know I'm really clear on what I'm calling in terms of partnership and the energetics that I want to create from the beginning with that. And so it feels like it would be a no, although I know people in my space that have the kind of union that I want, and they did start with sex on the first night because they met, and it was like, if it was a full body yes, and they were just like, and it just happened, I could see that being a possibility. But for me, I don't meet many people where it's a full body yes and straight away. So that's where it's a no, and who knows? What do you mean about full body yes? Full body yes is like physical connection, like there's an attraction, there's an emotional connection, there's some kind of connection that feels like spiritual, like figure of us, and great conversation and all that kind of stuff as well. So, and this will make emotional, spiritual, all things. If that happens,
So you think you can evaluate and assess these things and feel these things on the first date, and know like, okay, yeah, now it's a full body yes.
Well, that's why I'm saying generally it would be a no, because I don't think you know that straight away. And you want to take some time to get to know people. Though I have had friends that sort of sat where I sat and said, I was calling this in, I was a no, but then when we met, it never had happened before. And then they ended up in bed first night, and then they spent years together. And it's what I consider like a really beautiful, inspiring relationship. And so I feel I always ask it questions, especially when I see people in love and something inspiring about it. I just make what happened. What I've learned is that there's no one way. Like there's so many different ways things happen. So that's why I said I'm a no, and I could contradict myself tomorrow. And I would like to do that.
I guess she's up for sex on the first date.
Really changed.
Did I just? Okay, that's the feminine.
Welcome to the feminine world. All right.
I was going to say, for me, I was also definitely a no. But the reason I said yes is because something similar to that had happened in the past. So I can't look back and then hold myself accountable if I say no, but actually it did happen and my actions spoke differently to how I now present myself. So I kind of have to honor that and say yes, because it has happened. And, if that full body connection happens again, then I would be open to that as well. So it kind of has to be yes, I think, from my side anyway.
There's also like phases as well, you know, like I have phases that I'm like definitely a no for it, no matter what, because I am on a practice, I'm on a commitment. And there are other phases where I just soften my rules. And I was just like, okay, I have lived by the rules for so long, and I haven't had kids for so long. And it's kind of, my life is boring now. I'm so safe. I feel so safe, but it's boring. And so I just want to feel like alive. And so I am open to exploring. If it makes sense in the moment, I will feel, you know? And I have had like maybe 4 boyfriends where I had sex on the first date and they became boyfriends of mine. So I think it's a myth, right? There's a myth that says like, if you have sex with a guy on the first date, he's not going to take you seriously. He's not going to be with you. I think that's a total myth. Like, I know that with my experience. Perhaps some guys wouldn't be with a girl that have sex in the first date, but that's not the kind of guy that I want for me anyways. So I'm fine.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go for it.
What would you classify as a date? Because I thought about this morning, and there are times where, you know, you either haven't had sex for a long time or you just feel like you need it, and then it's not really a date. It's kind of like this thing with a mission, and then the mission gets completed, right? It's not, but if I would look at that, I wouldn't call that a date necessarily.
Are you saying
Like a date for me is kind of somebody where you would go, I would like to spend some more time getting to know you, and then you make that commitment time. You go to a nice place.
you meet on a nightclub or the same night and then you go home and sex, or like you met at a dinner with friends and then, you know, let's go for dinner tomorrow or in a week from now. So that's like the date.
It's a date.
It's a date. If you meet it on the first night, it's different. But it's also kind of similar to what we're speaking.
Okay.
Good. But it's different. They went ready at hook up from one's a date. Yeah, one is a little bit, that's another one, right? Yeah, and for us, it makes a difference, I feel. Like when there's a date, like there's a commit, there's dinner, there's like this container that is being set. Like, he's doing some work, like she's preparing the space. He's, you know, taking me out, and I felt there, courageous, he's able to, this guy's confident, he can take action, can, you know, growing.
So if that's the dating experience that you just described, then sex is possible, but for the hookup, not necessarily.
I didn't see that.
Okay, what did you say?
Hey,
this is the
that is, I'll give you some tips for the guys who no, like have sexual on first date. Definitely do the most beautiful, romantic, amazing, genuine, be genuine about it. First date, because that gets better things.
I think that's bad advice.
Because you want sex.
Well, but this is just what you said. I'm sorry. This is exactly what you just said. You said, like, look, if you want to have sex on the first night, this is what you have to do. Go on a romantic date, do all these things. So it's like, you're kind of throwing your old ladies under the bus.
I'm going to say something. I haven't had sex for me is not only physical, it's energetic as well. So, like, if you want to make love energetically, even without penetration, like, this is how you do it. For me, sex is energy exchange. It's not only penetration. This is what I'm meaning. Like, if you want to open us up, like, start with intention, like, be thoughtful.
With flowers. Maybe that's her advice. It's necessary, but yeah. What do you like?
I want to hear Kim, though.
Yeah.
Because I feel like Kim is kind of quiet and she doesn't really want to say it. I'm kind of listening, so...
Well, I have always been a yes girl in my 20s.
Yes.
Because the outcome was different. Mm-hmm. So the outcome now is partnership, a relationship, soulmate union. So because the outcome has changed, my my opinion of how I approach sex and sensuality has changed. Because I used to use sex and my body to make people fall in love with me because I didn't fully tap into my soul and know who I was. And that's kind of what's got me on this path today. So I'd rather someone really feel my soul and be really curious and interested in like, who am I? Like, what do I value from life? I also want to know who they are. Like, who is this person whose energy field I'm going to be in? And yeah, I feel because the place I'm in, like, it's super important to cultivate that yearning and that desire and to create meaningful moments along the way and to feel like so excited for this next layer of chocolate that you're going to dive into. And so much to be enjoyed that is around sex. There's so much to be explored before that even been on the table, I think.
Yeah.
Can I add something to that as well?
Go.
I also feel for a woman, or I speak for myself, when you're starting to be really intimate and sexual with a partner, it can get very confusing because like you can start there's chemicals and hormones and emotions, like, you know, and you connect very deeply. And it can then get confusing of like, what is this person's lines and I really like who this person is and what is just like energy and connection. And so I find slowing it down a little bit actually helps you just fall in love with the right as you start to connect more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But don't you think that's kind of contradicting with what you said before? It's like, well, generally it's a no, but if this full body yes is there, then you go for it.
At that yet, but I'm open to.
But even if you're open and you meet that person, wouldn't you still contradict yourself with what you just said now? If you want to explore that person, really get to know them.
But I've had people that literally have met someone, and they were more where I sit, spent 3 days together and knew they were in love straight away. And just spent like a whole 3 days together, and now they're married, having babies. So like, I like to be idealistic and that there's some kind of connections out there that are beyond all the constructs of people thought about today. And yeah, I'm open to that, but I don't think it would be the norm. And also as a rule, when a man and a woman have sex, the woman wants more and the man retreats. And so if you're just getting to know someone and then you don't hear off them for like days and days and days, like a lot of people don't understand that that's just like genetics and what the male and female do. So when you've got the foundation of connection and love and understanding, it's like you're more secure in the dynamic in the relationship.
So
I think that happens because of most people, what you just said, most people pursue instant gratification and then they make bad decisions and they end up having sex with the wrong partner. So I believe in being extremely selective with who you have sex with. And I believe that you have all the information you need in 5-10 minutes with someone. Because you can read people, like we are trained to read people very well. There's a book that changed my life. It's called Blink by Malcolm Gladwell. It's a book on intuition. And it tells you, like we always know actually. We always know like you meet someone, for example, there's a in this book there's a chapter where he discusses this situation where a psychologist sees a couple together and they are there for 5 minutes. And he can predict with, I think, 95% accuracy if this couple will be for more than 10 years together. And it's like 90, and they did a study with like hundreds, or I don't know if hundreds or thousands, but hundreds of, or dozens, I don't know, hundreds, I think, of couples, and he predicted 95% of them. So how does that happen? When you're talking with someone, every moment you're feeling something, there's a micro expression. Like there's literally no differentiation between when, for example, I'm talking to you and I feel admiration, it will show in my face, or maybe I'm feeling contempt, and it will show in my face. So you know the emotions you feel towards someone, and yeah, maybe you just want to have sex and you forget all of that, but then it's a bad decision. So you always know.
why is it a bad decision if this is what you're after?
Because
And this is what the men are after.
yeah, but depends. It depends. Like I think most men, when they are especially younger, they've had sex with someone that they regretted afterwards. And after you have that experience so many times, you learn something from it. You're like, okay, I'm not going to go to bed with that person or with this person that I just met, because I already know that I'm going to, like, the moment sex is over, I'll be like, okay, I don't want to be with this person. Like, honestly, every man has experienced this.
I would say every woman has experienced.
And also, yeah.
Or just every man at every woman.
Yeah.
No.
Oh.
Right.
Almost, yeah.
Yeah.
So we know. So you already know. If you like, it should be a rule. Like, you're only gonna go to bed with someone you want to wake up with the next day. That's a like minimal good rule.
At my study,
Yeah.
I've this even a more extreme on that. I would only have sex with someone if I think he can be the father of my child.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And you know that on the first date, if that person could be the father of your child.
No, it's not so serious. It's not that I got good genes. It's just kinds of energy. Like, if I feel that this man has the capacity to provide, protect, and be the conscious and all things and be amazing, that's the prerequisite, of go to the first level of like, let's go on a date. I would even go on a date if I don't feel like this person has the capacity to hold all the things that I need. Therefore, like, I already filter a lot, giving the opportunity for me to be open on the first dates. For example, given the fact that I have been dating someone and have been dating for more than 2 months and have had sex. So it's like there's no rules, right? And there's still a lot of energy, but
What questions do you ask him on the first date to qualify if he would be a match?
I think more than questions, yes, we have just normal conversations. I think obviously, like, what are your desires for your future? What is a vision for your future? But also, like, the energy, like, just the way a person speaks, how they speak. Is it a match? Like, how did these smell? How do they feel when you're near them? Is there like a magnetic pull? Really like the way they treat the waiter, or what are their values? What's the value at? Where are they going? Where's their vision?
Okay.
Profession, because you said protect and service. How do you find that out?
How do we find? Only with time, those things, obviously, but it's like out when I'm like a partner, what I draw to is masculine energy, that feels various layers of my yearning, So it's the first layer. It's obviously like, is this person has a vision, how he lives his lifestyle? Is he well off? Like, can he be free? Because I'm a free woman. I have my business. I need a person that is like able to travel and do things. That's the first layer. And then, like, I go into something, is he like mentally stable? Like a cycle. He's like a guy that has brain, he's intelligent, he's ambitious, and has like his things, not needy, stuff like that.
How do you get him the point of his vision from where he's practically at? He can have a strong vision, but he might be impaired.
Okay, so what is...
Might not be able to provide it. But kind of curious if this is...
I don't think that's the point. Like, let me tell you, like, why I think it should be a hard no, especially for women. It's one, every man on the first date, they position and present themselves in the absolute best fucking way possible. You're gonna find so many things where you're like, afterwards, like, oh wow, I didn't know, I didn't see. Like, they can like lie the moon, So just for that reason itself, because they're always gonna position themselves in the best light, you ultimately have it's almost impossible to have all the data available for you to make that decision to go to that intimate sacred space with a man. That's one. I think another piece is, and even though you explained a different, you have some friends where it's different, in most of the cases, when you just look and everyone around you and what happens in society, if man and woman have sex on the first date, it rarely ends up in a long-lasting, beautiful partnership. Why? Because for men, you very quickly end up in the sex zone. The same way how women have their friendship zone, you know, like, okay, these guys, they're only my friends. Men have that too. It's a sex zone. Like, they're still going to hook up with you. They're still going to have sex with you. They're still going to, like, you know, make love with you for a little while and whatnot. But they're not going to be as invested in you. Because one, they're already, like, at the final point of, like, I already conquered her. What else is there, you know, to get? And I think as a woman, you kind of disqualify yourself to be wifey material. And I know this might piss some people off. But the man, how he looks at it is like, wait a second, if I'm going to have sex with her on the first night, she probably had sex with a bunch of other dudes the first night as well. Is that the type of woman that I really want for my, like, partnership, marriage, mother of my child? Probably not. So that's why I think for women, it should be a very hard no. And for men, it's almost like a test. It's like, if I'm going to have sex with her on the first night, most men, they will go there. Why not? Free pussy, you know? Like, so many men are, like, just wired this way, unfortunately. But if you do not allow a man to have sex with you immediately, and there's actually this, like, time of exploring each other and really getting to know each other and playing with that sexual energy and the tension that is there, rather than going, like, to 110% straight away, that's what makes it exciting. That makes it super exciting and intriguing. And that keeps the man also on his toes to, like, show up as his best all the time, because otherwise he's not going to get you. Anyway.
I feel like you're vilifying men a bit. It's the truth. It's the truth. Because the first point you made was that somebody's going to come as their Instagram self, you know? Right? Someone's going to come as their 5 pictures on Tinder, you know? Ripped by friends, dog, family, you know? That's what they're going to bring to the date. But it's the same for females. They're also going to come as their Instagram self.
Correct.
Almost wearing exactly the same clothes. You know what I mean?
But women are not going to the first date with an idea of, like, let me try to have sex with him tonight.
You never know.
Do you guys go on a date with that intention?
The date thing, personally not. Because if I've invested in date time means hopefully longer than just daytime.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't think all men go on a date. I don't know. I'm not a man. But I don't think all men go on a date being like,
I think a lot.
can I do it today? Yeah, I get that.
It's never all men. Like, obviously, we speak a little bit in, you know, generalities here. But, like, clearly, I would say a lot of men, like, that animalistic instinct, that, like, conquering and having this, like, sexual pleasure and whatnot, is clearly at least in the back of our mind. If we like that woman and we go on a date with her, we want to explore as much of her as we can, as fast as we can. Most of the time, right?
That's true.
And I'm okay with this desire, and I'd rather you have it than you don't, but it's obviously we are the ones to decide what's going to happen.
Of course. But that's why we have this question, is it a yes or no? And, like, you know, and even, like, you know, some of you's like, yeah, maybe, and, like, yeah, if it energetically
I
feels
will
right.
decide.
I just want to clarify, I was the hard no, but my relationship coach, who has exactly what I want,
Yeah.
she told me recently, and you see the relationship, it's what I want, and she told me she slept with her partner first. The 3 relationships I admire broke their own rules, so that's why.
Exception don't prove the rule, though, right?
Oh my! If this is an exception, I don't think that's an exception, because I had 4 boyfriends, all on the first date, and I continue, like, to believe that I cannot define. I don't like to define. That's the first thing you guys need to know about me. I like to break rules. I do not like definitions. I like to be open. Like, I am a very open-minded person. I like to expand my mind as much as possible. So for me to define that a woman that's deep on the first date is classified as a woman that is not worth to marry with, for me that's very limiting. And it's just, it doesn't allow me to be who you want and do in his life in the moment with what you have. Because you can lose a magical moment that this person could be that your, you know, soulmate, because of your judgments about how it should be, you know?
Yeah.
And it's okay. It's just like a preference.
I think it's a boundary.
It's a boundary.
you know, that it's not a judgment. It's just do it. I'm not gonna be her baby dad.
Yeah.
There's something very interesting and fascinating. Like, there is this thing in the subconscious mind of the man, like, how far can I go with a woman on the first date?
The testing.
Yeah. Like, is that going to be in the front seat, driving the car? Just going to be aware of it, have it in the back seat. Like, who from where do you want to steer the first date? And I believe that changes for a man. When you're younger, it's very cool to explain what happened, you know? But with time, it can be like, I really felt this large attraction. But I chose to get more curious to see if we have similar values, be like a more beautiful future together before I just listen to the instincts, the primal of conquering. I agree with that.
I think there's a lot of mediocrity in the world. So as a general rule, still have sex on the first date, but definitely under awareness on how you can perceive situations and people. Why not? Like if you are extremely drawn and attracted to someone, and you have a very good filter of who you would get involved with or not, and both of you are in a situation when there's a magical moment that might happen, why not have sex? You can. You can.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's also valid to extend that, create this and prolong sexual tension before sex. Also amazing. Yeah, also super amazing. So it's like, yeah, I think like more and more people's attention span is getting diminished, and it's a very fair battle against the technology that we have nowadays, like instant gratification. It's, as a general rule, I believe it's an old, but a lot of us are also on the other side of the pool, where we're doing a lot of self-development. I think it's very. I mean, I had experiences where I had girlfriends that I had sex with on the first date, and relationships that lasted more than a year or years. And there's nothing. And I mean, I wouldn't judge a woman for having sex on the first date.
I feel like sex is a very dangerous activity. First off, for us women, for men, like we can spread disease, it can break hearts, there's so much.
Get babies.
It can get babies, right? Like it can really. So yes, there is some there that I think we should pay attention to. There is like, I started my tantric path. When I started, I was a hard no for first date sex, and then for the last 10 years, perhaps I had sex with five different people for 10 years, you know? So, I do believe nowadays I'm feeling like I have done so much work and worked so much of my energy, and I'm just at a point where if I want to, if I feel like it's a yes, I would probably have a conversation before sex, which is not so sexy, but it's necessary.
So at the dinner table?
Depends. It could be mad. It could be at a dinner table. It could be on the way in the car. It could just be.
What do you discuss with a man then?
Well, I think it's important to discuss like what are your desires with the connection, right? Like, what are you? So you're clear. Oh, my desire is to have an amazing time with you tonight. My desire is to have a relationship. I'm calling in a partner. My desire. So if you are with someone that's calling in a partner, you're having this conversation and you know they're in a partnership, and the other person is like, I just want to have sex tonight and I'm not looking for anything, then you can decide.
How many men are going to tell you, I just want to have sex tonight? And that moment when you're basically already on the way home in the cab, like, you know, how many men are going to think, you ever, well, actually, I just want to fuck you tonight and have a good time, and then probably tomorrow you're not going to see me. He's going to tell.
Oh God, that's the thing. I don't date the sex.
Like, you don't know that on the first, like, that's the thing. That's why I think, like, you, as a woman, you should, and actually it's the same for a man. Like, if you want to be an integrated, like, solid masculine and the representation of that, you shouldn't have sex with a woman on the first date either. You know, so don't get me wrong.
I love this idea. I think it's a great safety place to save the container.
What idea do you love? I'm not quite sure if I understand what you mean.
I said, I think this boundaries are meant to keep us safe.
Right.
So if that is good to you, that's great. Keep it. You know, and one day you might change your mind.
Sometimes you don't want to live in safety the whole time and take risks and follow feelings. If those feelings are there, like you said, full body feelings. Sometimes you're like, I feel like I should put up this boundary, but what if actually it's one of those things that you say, because they do happen.
I have a different question. If you decide to wait and not have sex on the first date, what exactly are you looking for precisely? Like what is like that you're still trying to discover on that person?
I mean, there's so much to discover. It's
Yeah.
the first time that I actually meet that person, have an intimate conversation, date, like, you know, spending like some very much quality time with that person. There's so many things that I don't know about that person.
For example,
Like anything from her past, her relationships in the past, you know, the family dynamics, like, you know, what she really wants to do in life, and not just this like idea and vision of like, you know, with this ABC, like diving just so much deeper. And I don't think you can still explore sexual energies and like this tension, but you don't have to go all the way straight away.
it depends also on how let's say intense or profound, deep the encounter is also, right? Like if you maintain the date on a superficial level, I agree, but there's so much you can see from sense from people. Wouldn't you agree? You're a sensitive guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because
And still,
so wouldn't you know, like when you meet a girl, like okay, this person is really interesting. I know that I would totally want to see her more if I had sex with her on like now or tomorrow. I don't know.
I think it depends on what you're looking for. If you look for sex, yeah, you might be like, okay, that could be somewhat a good match to have a good time. It's a genuine connection or whatnot. But I think it's pretty much almost impossible to know on the first date, generally speaking, to know if that woman or that man is actually going to be a long-term partner that is aligned in like my most important pillars. You know? So why do I go to this most intimate, sacred space with that woman or that man more or less immediately, like within hours?
But it depends. It depends on what you're looking for. If it's just if it's a relationship, or if it's connection, because you can have okay, of course you can have sex with someone and it just be really shallow, or you can have sex like I believe people. A lot of us have had people that passed through our lives, stayed for a short or medium period of time, and that was super important, and that was profound. It was like my teachers, yeah. So it's like, honestly, how many times are you having sex with someone that it ends up on a serious long-term relationship? Not that many.
Exactly.
Not that many, right? So wouldn't it be wiser to select via, okay, is this, for example, if you're extremely aroused by that person, that's one point of selection, right? If you're kind of aroused, that's already, some people will go for the, okay, I'll just have sex now. And some people will be like, okay, I need it regardless, you know, like, because I just really crave this person, right? So, I think we always know, as I said in the first moment I spoke, I think we always know. I genuinely think we always know. We always know a lot, and because intuition is our most supreme form of intelligence. It doesn't take long.
I have an important question.
Yeah.
Do you think women, in your perspective, knows deeper and more than men? Like, almost like regarding what you were just saying?
You're asking if women have a stronger intuition than men? I don't know.
No, I mean, retreat that I was in, like a tantra retreat, and this goes to the point because I completely agree. His teacher, she's quite an amazing teacher, was like, if you're really present for a woman, and I'm curious about men, if you're really present in a moment when you kiss someone, you can know everything. You can know how long you're going to be with this person. Am I going to have kids with this person? Like, if you're that conscious in that moment.
Yeah.
And I can't prove that right now, but I believe that on a level that the connection from the beginning tends to be the connection the whole way through. So if you see a red flag at the beginning, that red flag will be the whole way through. If you feel that real openness and safety straight away,
There's also a
Question, Pat. We men feel we can know that as
Absolutely.
I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Without a doubt.
there's
Because once you know, you know.
there's layers to this, right? Like for example, we're talking here. We're 7 people that live in Bali. That's like, how many of us of you guys are coaches? Like, you've worked a lot on yourselves. There's a lot of like self-development in this table, right? But put on, like, I don't think, put on the general public that takes pills to sleep and eats poorly and doesn't take care of themselves what kind of intuition will someone like that have? Then obviously it's a hard no. Like
Also take that man and put him in the middle of Singleton on a Sunday.
yeah.
Like operates with integrity.
So it has a lot of layers, because we tend to make the mistake of thinking that people will think and act like us. So I agree that as a general advice, no. But
there's a whole way up until the bed that you can decide. You can go in their bedroom and see what kind of products they have in their bedroom. Just you can see what that's under the tree. You can see what how they're structured. They have, how there's so many clues.
yeah, I think in a we'll always, if you end up in a situation where you're going to bed with someone, from the moment of meeting that person to the moment of going to bed, there will be signs.
Yeah.
For sure. And you can say like, oh no, I need 10 dates with that person, or I need 1 date, but the signs will be the same. It will be there. So that's why I say it's a yes, because you can know, but for a general perspective, no. Like
General,
yeah.
yes, we also hope because we have been doing personal development. So actually, I want to say something, chance touch out of here. I respect that about you so much. I think we need more of that in the world. Actually, we need more men that are like, no, I'm not up for having sex on the first date. I want to get to know you. Oh my goodness. Yes, please. That's what we want. That's what we want. But at the same time, I have to give my opinion, but I want to just acknowledge that I feel that this is super sexy.
Thank you.
Of course.
I don't think it's kind of so. But don't you think? And there's actually a couple things that was me. So 2 things. One, I want to dive deeper into how the woman assess and test a man. From the very beginning, he was like, well, when I'm in his bathroom, I check like how everything looks like. So I think that's a really interesting topic. But the other one that you just said, you think it's super sexy if a man is like, I'm not going to have sex with you on the first date. If I think there could be something more serious here, I'm not going to go there. That is super sexy. The only thing, a very easy way for a woman to then also make sure men have to stay in alignment with that, because as you said, women are in control of sex, right? It's like, don't allow them to have sex with you on the first date.
Women that want to then have sex till they can.
Yeah, it's kind of like women give access to sex, and men give access to the ring.
That's a good one.
Right?
Yeah, because it's true. If a woman goes out at night and she wants to have sex, she will have sex.
She will have sex. And it's not the same for guys. It's so much easier for women to get laid.
No, they.
No, for a guy, not necessarily.
Generally speaking, nah. No, yeah, of course. But generally speaking, if you take women as a whole versus men as a whole, it's got to be much easier for women to have sex and get laid and get like a lot of attention compared to a man.
It's very true. The probability of that happening is way less than a man, actually. Can I ask if you've always been like this? If not, when was the shift and why?
Good question. No, I have not always been like this, but there was a moment where I was looking at my sexual encounters that I had and my relationships that I had in the past, and they were all long, like 6 years and like multiple years. The ones that were actually long-term relationships where you really built something, I never had sex with them in the beginning. It's really something that very gradually, slowly evolved. Was there sexual tension straight away? Absolutely, yes. Do I want to have sex with her straight away? Of course, yes, too. But, I didn't go there.
So are you now looking for a relationship and a partnership? Is that why you're like really?
Of course, yeah. Yeah, because like meaningless sex with like another woman is, I've been there, I've done that. It's a thing like you wake up in the morning, it's like, oh, why have I done this? Like, it's just like, that's what I've done in my 20s.
Like waking up next to the empty McDonald's.
At the end of the day, it's boring.
What do you look for in a woman?
What do I look for in a woman?
Yes. When do you make that decision?
Someone who really, one, respects herself. And I think a woman that has sex with a man straight away, there is, to a certain degree, a little bit of a lack of that self-worth. Because I think it's, like I said, one of the most intimate, sacred, beautiful unions that you can create. And if you go there straight away, then there's a lack of self-worth, in my opinion. You might not like that.
I agree. I think that I know a lot of women that lives in that route.
Yeah.
Yeah. It goes back to what he said before, like, what is the first date, right? Like, because if I think on personal experience, it's very rare that I meet someone, go on a date, and then have sex on the same day, right? Like, usually there's more stories, more days maybe, or more encounters before sex. So unless you're going out partying, like if you're going out to nightclubs, if you're going out partying a lot, then yes, then you'll have sex on the first date many times. But if that's not the scene you're going, then...
And they're basically, at that moment, disqualify themselves immediately. You're not going to look at that woman that you meet at the club, both of them are intoxicated, they're drunk, and then you end up like having like ranchy sex, in the hotel room, or like take someone...
But it's
Phil.
Question of that. How many of us here are actually in a really long-term, serious, I found my partner kind of relationship? You are? Yes. How can you
First question, have you had sex with her on the first date?
No.
Proving my case.
With the one person.
Yeah. That's what I'm always interested in, is like who has what I want. So yeah, I think do you feel like this is your person? Well, no, like but
There's a woman I adore and I respect, and we have the most amazing connections on the level.
beautiful.
And life is more fun with her and less fun without her. And there's so many different layers we can explore in this, but I did gain a massive respect for her because we weren't intimate the first date. And we had like 6 hours of non-verbal communication, just connecting with each other, non-sexual. And that kind of took the need for words out of the equation, because you're connecting deeply, and then it's like, okay, the basic layers of questions to see if you're a good match or not. But if you jump straight into that, then you're trying to build something on top of that, and it's kind of,
You don't have the foundation.
eat the dessert first, and then you have the salad. Strange.
Yeah. It's like trying to build the house without having a foundation. You already want to sit at the fireplace where everything is hot and warm and beautiful and like, it's cozy in front of but like you don't even have a foundation for the house.
Yeah, I feel this is definitely a beautiful way. It's like even tantric, when you hold the tension of sexuality as much as possible before like penetration and things. This is definitely like a journey of depth and intimacy and trust and really getting to know each other is the most beautiful journey ever. And definitely like recommend for anyone who is in the fast to try that out as many times as possible, as long as you can. You know, it's such a beautiful practice. Yeah.
Kim, how do you test and assess men?
I think how present someone can be is a really good indicator, because someone who's got a really amazing practice and self-love ritual means that they're really devoting to themselves. And I think we can only see someone else as deep as we can see ourselves. And I think sometimes, I don't want to manifest this, but the more that I ascend, I'm like, less and less people who can like meet me where I'm willing to go. Because I get so much, I get really aroused by like gazing with a partner that I'm attracted to and like having in-depth conversations and really getting to know them and their heart and their purpose and their mission and where they're going in life and what they really want and why they're here. And that to me is almost as pleasurable as sex. So I find that it's a level of depth that someone's willing to go and reveal to me where I can really meet them on that level. That is like super important.
Okay, then we have a bunch of bathroom.
It's just something that
It's super smart though, by the way. Like, I think
it's a hard no for me because I'm supernatural with all the things. I'm a vegetarian. So I was born. I never had any, I cannot say here, but I had here. But I've been doing only natural medicine and all these things. And so eating super clean. So this consciousness for me is important, right? Obviously, like presence, ability to move. I think confidence as well, because a man that is not confident, he will put you down at some point. And because he's gonna be insecure,
you will put him down.
no, he will try to sabotage himself. That put me down, help purchase it. Yeah, because like obviously you can feel my energy. I'm very fiery and dense and passionate, and I'm confident. So I definitely need a man that is more than me, has more of that energy, like more confidence than me, or equal. It's okay too. But I just feel like if he's insecure about my power, that's not gonna fly long term. I had like few experiences like that, and it was very annoying to me. And at the same time, I learned so much. There's so many things. I feel that the way that men and women fall in love is so different. When we have sex, it's like it just opens like our neurotransmitters to our brain, and we have all these halos of oxytocin and the dopamine, and like. And on the contrary, when men have sex, their testosterone goes up, their oxytocin goes down. That means they're cold hearts and they're in the masculine, and there's not the love feeling of like being in love. So men fall in love when they commit. That's when men do your breakup. It's like when you are like, wow, I'm gonna open the house. Or obviously, like there are all the layers of us opening ourselves and just being in that loving energy that will eventually open your heart. But I feel that it's too different.
What does commitment mean?
Exactly.
Okay, I have something to say about that then. For a man to fall in love, I think first he has to be very stable on his own path. Yeah. Right? Because like what is a commitment? Like what is the masculine role in a relationship? You're gonna provide, you're gonna take care of someone. Yeah. So if you're not able to take care of someone and kids, and you don't take even care of yourself yet, like I think you're I think it's actually even crazy that you
I mean, you can be passionate, apaixonado, like you can be passionate about someone, but it won't be real love. Because if you only when you're ready for a commitment, that you can create a foundation for that to happen. So it's
building together.
yeah, it's possible. But then it's also like, if you're completely lost, you're not gonna find yourself building. So that's why it's important to develop that, at least the potential before, and at least kind of like, okay, like I have a direction, I feel confident on moving forward to be able to sustain a relationship with someone else.
I think once that happens, then the right people start appearing around you.
When the apprentice is ready, the master appears.
Well, also the wrong ones.
Also the wrong ones, yeah. Right. And then you have to make the decision between you having a date with somebody sitting across the table, and you gotta go, is this lust? Or is this something else? Is this maybe love, or do I just like spending time with this person and they're cool?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is super sexy when a guy is like, on purpose, I know where I'm going, I know where I'm here, like I've got you. What got you? It's like,
yeah, but I also think there's two things, right? Like for a man to have experiences before, it helps him to consolidate his views. For a woman, I think it's to have many experiences.
Usually experiences.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it carries problems. Like I think it brings at least from what I see, I think it brings a lot of trauma to the table.
wait,
Like,
Not sure I totally.
like, let's make it simple. Women are penetrated. Like someone goes inside you, right? Like they go into your world. Men penetrate. It's different. Like the relationship guys have with sex and women have with sex. So it's yeah, like it's what it is. Like when like a lot of times you're gonna have your heart broken many times. Women, as speaking, men can have as well, but I think women get their heart broken many times, and generally men learn a lot with their experiences. So it's an unfortunate reality in a way, because it's not the equal relationship to sex that men and women have.
if you knew that a woman had 50 partners and you had 10, when's that with that?
No, it's not for me.
Or size 75 was it like hard
For me, it wouldn't be the number, because like, what is the story also with that woman? Like where is she at right now? Like, has she worked on herself? Who is she? It's not just by a number. It's not just a number that will tell me something. But
I also think it's so empowering.
But yeah, I think
to do that. You know, I've had 2 friends at least that I know that have done an experiment where they've had sex every single day for a month.
with different people.
Yeah. So, which I know it's an extreme end of the table.
That's why we're here, right?
Yes. But it was...
Can you bring those on? We used to long talk to
They're just very right with it, because God consciousness is in everything and everyone, and so someone's decision to do something is their decision based on what they feel their soul needs to learn in this lifetime. I think as long as someone is right with it and is safe with what they're doing and how they're doing, it's like the judgment. I think it's the judgment we need to look at. It's why don't we stop judging and instead just ask someone, what is the outcome of the experience that you were desiring? Because her outcome was to feel free and to feel liberated. Well, and now to be into.
Probably this woman is there's a pathology called histrionic. You know, is that correct? Histrionic. Histrionic.
It's like, I find my...
It's in Portuguese is histrionic though. It's like, I think it's one of the first things that Freud, one of the first pathologies that Freud coined. And it's like, let's say, there's layers to this, right? There's degrees into how much you can be in that pathology, but and it is a pathology by definition. Like there's even a number, like a CG for it. But at CID, I don't know if that's their in English, but basically what's like something I learned with my psychologist that's really, it's if a woman is having orgasms with you, with a man, and if a woman is having orgasms with a guy, and she will, unless she is borderline, she has borderline personality disorder, she is histrionic, or she is drunk, altered, she will not be able to have orgasms with a guy. Sorry to bring this to the table, but it's like, it's in a woman's nature to only be able to go profoundly with someone else. If she's in her right state of mind, she will only be able to have that with a partner she elects. Election is something really profound. So when you, and histrionic means, like, for example, a clear example would be, I'm with a girlfriend here. Sasha is a good-looking guy. I'm with her. He's in our presence, and she can't help herself but trying to get his attention and flirt a little bit with him. She might not even do anything, but it's just like she will throw little signals, you know. And there's degrees to that, of course. But yeah, it's like one of, and from my experience, I've seen that be very true also. So there's layers, yeah.
But when you cowered then, talk to me about that.
That's right.
I saw the cringe.
I mean, like, if a woman has sex with a man, with a different man, every single day, for months,
As a choice, contain a practice.
you have to think about the repercussions of it. You can't just stay in the moment. Like, every action has consequences. So what are the consequences of having sex with so many men in so many different ways? Not in multiple times, like, you know, it's
Careful though, like safely.
fair enough. Still, you don't know that guy. You don't know what kind of energy you take on. You don't know what's, like, all these layers behind it. Like, you have zero. Go on.
No, I'm
For me,
that for me too, because when I'm deeply connecting with someone intimately, as a woman, we're receiving, and I can then like feel sometimes what that person's feeling or thinking. Like, there's a deep connection happening there, and I've noticed even if I am connecting with a partner, like, I'm quite attuned to them even outside that container. And yes, you can do the clearing practices and all those things, but I would feel that would kind of energetically get very confused.
Yeah.
think about it. Like, if your friend is like, what does it tell me about that person if they're able and capable of having sex with so many men in such a short period of time? Like, this idea of being liberated and open, and it's like, are they really? Can they really be open?
Feel at a very deep level. She's very connected, sober, all the things. And
Why do you need to have sex with like, I'm
I'm
really not judging. Like, for me, like, to make this person a partner, questionable. For me, yeah, it's perfectly fine.
We're not meant to be with everyone.
Correct.
And we all so different. There's a perfect, like, part, like, however you call, to close your sacred. Are you judging her because you may be judging a part of you? Would you say you've maybe had a similar, not be every day for a month?
I never had sex with two women at the same time. If it was with one woman, I'm not going to have sex with another woman at the same time.
Why
Not just because I think too many people, too many energies, too much effort, like too much time. Like, you know, I feel like I can't really go deep enough. And then I'm just like operating on this level of, in this plane of lust rather than love.
What have you done in the past?
Having sex with multiple women at the same time? No.
It doesn't align with what you want personally.
It's just like what I believe in, what my value system is at,
Yeah.
you know?
But your values are aligned, I imagine, with something that you want. Like, yeah, your desires. And that's what you build your values around. So then you don't do that, and that's cool.
Yeah, of course.
But her values are different. Her values are maybe
Very different.
very different, but also she may have another outcome of her, like what she wants to build her values around. Like the
There's something that I saw online which I thought is pretty profound, and you touch base on this just a little bit. There's a lot of trauma involved. Women have a lot of sex with a lot of different men. That means there's just a lot of trauma that's been accumulated. Because what happens if a woman really opens up her heart and has sex with that?
Yeah.
And then it ends. It gets broken. So now all of a sudden I'm not dealing with a partner that had her her heart broken like 4, 5, 6 times. Now we're talking about like 60 to 100 times. You know, those are the repercussions and the consequences that I think we should not just ignore, to stay in the moment and be flowy and just be liberated and have fun, you know?
It becomes like a skin to skin. There is no real true connection. I imagine. After some time, after the 10th day, it's just, it's like, okay, I'm just
It's a sport. It ends up being a sport, you know, or a competition.
a competition, right? Bad. But yeah, I don't judge. I think it's like an awesome experience if someone is willing to go through that. And as a lab, like they literally went through it. Now they can tell us, so we don't have to go through it, you know?
I think
So I'm curious to talk to this.
the other guys are aware of this. I must admit, she picked up a new
Who's our partner aware of it? You said she's in a long-term
That's, I'm pretty sure she's open about everything.
Let's call her shit.
very passionately.
I think she was probably in a psychotic breakdown. Yeah, it's like if you're having this, call it an experiment, you can rationalize it whatever you want. But if you're like doing it's so extreme. That is yeah, they can be.
Last, I have a spiritual teacher that I love so much. And one of these practices of his spiritual teacher was to like, okay, now we're going to go to the woods and we're going to get drunk for days. That's our responsibility about it. That was their spiritual practice. We're just going to freaking get drunk for days. When I heard that, I was like, dude, this time is, I don't know about that. But once I understood that, you know, it's a total, that it is breath work, he can smoke. He can.
Yeah.
Because he's not faking. There's no mask. He's a human.
Yeah, there's actually a very famous one that I won't say his name but he's a breathwork instructor that actually started a lot of the breathwork movement and he actually had to stop smoking at some point because his kids were like, man, like we can sell you if you continue smoking. He's like, yeah, but it doesn't hurt me, and it probably doesn't because he's like so like superhuman. Like,
what do you need to do right now if you would die tomorrow in order for you to die complete?
what do you mean?
If sex was 50, 60 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you have to do, guys, right now? If you die tomorrow, or if you die soon, what do you have to do in order to die complete in each and every single moment? If you can ask yourself this question, that's the question of the masculine. This is why it's sexy to us. If you are in your truth as a masculine person, because it could be a woman in their masculine, and sometimes I need to ask myself this question. That question led me to so many amazing accomplishments in my life, right? So, like, what do you men need to do? And ask yourself in every single moment, in order for you to die complete, if you would die tomorrow, that's extreme, but like, if you would die, what do you need to do right now? And that constantly again. So this woman, she was going through a spiritual practice, whatever that is. If we would not to judge, perhaps she asked that question to herself. And the answer was, I need to fuck 30 guys this month. And what is today? And this is my spiritual practice. I'll die complete and I'll feel complete. So, everybody is different. We're here. We're unique.
Yeah, I mean, we are.
Point of view. Boom.
So you asked me if I was dating or having sex with multiple people at the same time. Are you guys open to share?
The podcast. So we skip the test and then it's very snap. She did.
You want to be raw and happen, huh?
Orgy chat. Yeah. It was about sex on the first date.
No, I mean, that's orgy started this.
Yeah.
How's the steak? Would you like to go for an orgy?
Yeah.
We start here.
No. Still not. No.
Okay.
Absolutely not. Because one,
Is a question?
like, would you be connected to one, right? Like,
Have you had sex with multiple people during the same time?
at the same,
Like, the same occasion seemed like a
No, like fitness. Dating multiple people, you're having sex with multiple women, like, no big deal.
Yeah, I had in the past.
but whilst dating somebody,
No.
What?
whilst dating somebody,
No, not. I was not in a serious relationship. Just like being single and having sex with one day in one girl and one day in the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had.
Yeah.
but not. I don't think.
Consider with James, what happens?
No, but I mean, I thought you were talking about being with somebody and being open to sleeping with multiple people whilst with somebody.
It's a whole different scene.
You mean like a noble?
Yeah, as
Oh, no, not threesomes. It's like just seeing multiple people at the same time.
so. No, I can still say no.
Sound already? People, have you had a threesome already? Oh, from Kenny, now we understand.
Yeah, but that's not the question.
But I can still say no, Sasha, because every single person I've been with has had my attention for that period of time, and whether that's worked or not, or the time the turnaround time may at certain times been relatively short. Well put, right? But
Gentlemen,
in every single situation, it's always been like this person for this period of time. Does it work out? Yes or no? No. Okay, cool. And then, oh my God, this.
Full presence and commitment for that night. Understood.
But not actively doing multiple things at the same time. I think I can still say no quite comfortably.
So you said yes, and now it's a no.
Yeah, because as I said, men learn from their experience. Like I think it's important for a guy to prove himself in a way. Like every guy goes through that phase where you overcome, like how can I put this, where you kind of like you prove yourself as a man, as a partner. Like you see, like, okay, yes, I'm able to have sex with different women. I'm able to
seen as cool.
Yeah, not as cool necessarily, but it's to fulfill that desire, let's say, and then you know that you can attract a woman to your life, and it's not nothing, because they're like for like, let's face it, most men have very few. As this is something I saw Jordan Peterson saying, have very few women at his disposal, and some men have a lot of women at his disposal. So what do you do in that situation? Like when you have a lot of women in your disposal, do you capitalize on that opportunity, or do you choose one and go deep into that? And at some point, it's like, unless you're a really, really rare human being, you will from the start just choose one. But at some point, you have to have your experience and then know what you like, what you don't, and you learn from it. Or else it's like, how many times do you need to have meaningless sex? How many times do you need to have that experience? Like once, twice, 5 times, 10 times, 100 times? I don't know. Like at some point you learn. At some point you're like, okay, like I know what this is. Do I want to go there again? So it's like, at some point you don't go to bed with someone that you're not like you have to be extremely attracted to, because or else you already know how it ends up. And sometimes you like someone, and and it's the other, the other spectrum. Like I've been enchanted with girls that this like everything is perfect, but the sexual part is okay. And then it's not also not going for it.
You're not.
It's not going to maintain itself. Like the person can be perfect, but if sex is not amazing, like is that what you want? Like
Has to be everything. Right?
has to, yeah.
Really good information. I was wondering how did that for men?
No, it has to be. I think women have a more natural ability to connect mentally and emotionally, and sex can be secondary. I don't know. Me as a man, I think sex is super important, and it has to be really amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's actually one of the most important things, like kindness and sex, and
And it's a selfish act.
It's human.
yeah.
It has to be.
Um,
Is it though? Absolutely, yeah. It's not just put notice around whether it's important. I think it's still important. I think you can, obviously the provider and when you're having want someone who's going to be the father of your children, like great sex versus someone who's solid and stable and reliable, like yes, I'm definitely going to outweigh that. But I do still think, because especially I put this thing of like it takes a village, right? And we get different things from different people. So if you're got a guy who's great and this and that, like they could be a friend, but to have someone who, like in your Instagram, friends of him, and you can still get beautiful qualities from that friend. But when you're in an intimate partnership, yes, as a provider and the protector, but the intimacy is what makes it an intimate relationship as opposed to a friendship or a kind of brother and sister kind of dynamic. So I do feel it is still important, and I might change and evolve, but you're connecting and intimacy and sexuality, it's not just that, it's like your emotional connection. Like it is an expression of a lot of other layers of your connection.
like if we see, like let's put all the long-term relationships in the world here on the table, right? Like I would say most of them are not probably very ideal.
I agree.
Like there's a lot of comfort zone. There's a lot of like settling, or for something. But it depends on what kind of relationship you want to have. Like, because if you're gonna settle with someone that you're not super sexually attracted to, like it's a choice.
It's like a lot of couples have been.
Go for it.
I was going to say, I think a lot of couples have been forced into mediocrity by a formula that we have to follow. A lot of the people in Bali don't necessarily follow the formula, and they're figuring things out and trying to find something special for themselves, like with life and business or whatever. But if you take a look back at your cities and your hometowns, you can already, in your head, you can think of 3 people who have followed the formula and have just married at this time, because if you're not married by a certain time, then, or if you haven't had kids by a certain time, then, something will happen negative or something, or it's very much the societal pressure that kind of gets, I 100% agree with it. Majority of the long-term relationships fall into that 70% of the divorce rate, or they power through and never want to admit that they're either happy or unhappy.
Should we go to the ladies and ask them about them dating multiple people at the same time, being intimate?
Yes.
Because everybody says that. Is that on it? Have I ever think so? I would say no, and then it was probably a partnership that was completing, and then
That's different. It's not at the same time.
yeah, I've probably definitely kissed someone and been sleeping with someone, but not sex with 2 people at the same time, and I wouldn't. But I would date multiple.
Okay.
I actually think that's good for women to date
Why?
because of the psychology, the difference between men and women in psychology. Like we naturally, especially if we like someone, can get a little bit more attached sometimes. And if you know that, and you are dating multiple men, and you're also getting the qualities of the masculinity, then you don't fall into those sort of, just like it does.
Why does this not apply to men?
Yeah, was my question.
Well, because I think psychologically, this is my understanding, and I would love to hear from you guys. Guys naturally are the ones that want to chase or pursue something. And if a woman's leaning in because she's kind of not getting needs met and not experiencing different types of men, then there could be energetically and psychologically, like, I just think the way we're wired is different. Like, guys, do you want, if a woman's like really coming at you, is that a turn on or a turn off?
But those are two different questions.
Yeah.
Well, I from my own very connected. I think it is connected because when a woman, like I feel, most women, I'll say myself, but from my understanding, we naturally form attachments probably easier than men, especially.
And that's why it's good to date multiple men at the same time.
Yeah.
But then you're getting attached to one man.
No, it's that dating. We're talking about dating, not sleeping. I understand.
Sorry. Because I've been putting this to practice. I hadn't really dated much before. I'd more meet someone, would have an amazing connection, get to know each other, relationship. Now that I'm being more intentional, I'd heard this before and I'd never done it. I was like, I can't be bothered. That sounds like a lot of work. When I've really delved into like understanding it and I've been doing it, I get it. Because you're dating with an intention, not for, are you going to be my future partner, and asking interview questions, and you get to just connect with guys, get to know them for them. There's no pressure and expectation, which men, you can feel when there's pressure and expectation or you're being sized up, I'm imagining. So when you're dating with an intention of I'm quite clear on what I want and I'm calling in, and now I just get to go on dates and meet different men and kind of, oh, I love that quality, and that feels like you get to relax into the process and you're not early attaching, you're not putting pressure on things, you're not putting expectations, and then something naturally becomes obvious from that.
Yeah.
And I've started to experience that, and
it's the auditioning phase that you're auditioning, saying what you like and what you don't like, and like, you know.
Right.
I wouldn't. It's exactly the same for doing that. I wouldn't date you if I knew you were doing that.
Be aligned about this. It's about everything.
And this is the beauty. Because you brought it up and I had the same thing. I was like, that's the exact thing that a man does not want a woman that he's dating does. Like, I use it actually even as a test. Really? Yeah, like, and I didn't know this. This was like more recently that I realized, oh shit, this is what I'm doing. Like, nothing committed. I was dating this woman and like, you know, we had a little bit of fun and whatnot, but it was not committed. And at some point I asked her, like, do you date other people? And she had all the rights in the world, you know, and we talked about this. You can totally do this. I wasn't dating anyone else. It's just not my type stuff, you know? And she did. And for me at that moment, it was pretty much over. I'm like, there's not even this like type of loyalty to really explore that connection and figuring out what's really here or not.
Were you guys already having sex?
Yeah.
Oh, no, no, I'm not talking about sex. I'm not even talking about kissing. I'm talking about like... And talking about like coffee and getting to know someone, like they might turn into a friend. You don't know when you first meet someone. You're like, hey, I'm curious about you. Let's meet for coffee. And that is a date to me. Yeah, you're getting to know someone. I'm not talking about in kissing multiple people. Definitely not sleeping with multiple people. If you're in a stage of getting to know someone, again, you don't know necessarily straight away.
Yeah, and that's
what situation apply for men. Why does it not apply for men to like go on coffee dates with like a bunch of different women and see how I feel about it?
Because I think you would be annoyed, irritated, or frustrated if you guys had entered subconsciously an agreement to kind of get to know each other a little bit, and then you see that person with another girl or another guy, and you're going to... It's a mess. And you're going to be like, oh, and immediately there's that little connection that you think you may have had to explore would have been tarnished and thrown away. And then there was a lot of conversation earlier about commitment and about drive and about men knowing what they want. And what you're saying is that you want this man to commit and know what he wants and come after you and be like, this is your date. But you're on the other hand going, I'm going to see Kev quickly. And
but what if some of them are like friends even, and you're just like, I'm not saying like, if they're starting to be connection.
Are they single friends?
You might, that's another question I know of. Can guys be friends? We're friends, Sasha.
We're friends.
Friends. So if someone was seeing me hanging out with Sasha, are they going to think, oh, she's off connecting with another guy? Like, we're just genuine from the beginning, like, have developed.
But you're not necessarily dating him, you're just seeing a friend. That's fine, because then the communication is being like, I'm just going to go see Sash. Oh, who's Sash? Oh, he's this guy in Shrimp Spears. Yeah.
But I feel like once there's a bit of a connection forming, I wouldn't be dating anyone else. But I'm like, oh, I think there's someone here. But I think for me, I've never dated, and I'm interested to probably like what you were sharing before. You had an exploration phase with women, but maybe slept with them. But I feel for a woman, it's also helpful to like understand men and different qualities and what actually like, oh, this connection feels amazing. I love how they're so safe and on purpose. And I love that this guy is really, so I don't, if a connection formed, it would change.
But wouldn't that mean that every one of those guys is not the type of guy for you because you're getting everything from 6 different people and not everything from one person, which then speaks volumes about...
If you met someone who you were like, there's really something here, then I think, yeah, of course, that would, I think similar to you, it would become obvious. And like I said, I don't have all the answers, but I've never dated, and I've found since dating, I'm learning a lot more about myself, and also I'm probably learning, actually no, I was going.
Go on. We're like, it's just the 6 of us, 7 of us here at the table. No cameras are rolling.
But I'm also learning like where, yeah, things come up or like patterns come up and things like that. So yeah, I'm learning a lot through the process, and I've never done it before. It's always been, and now I think it is because I'm a bit more intentional. I'm slowing down and taking my time and not rushing into something. And so dating feels like a part of that slowing down process.
A question that might be very like logical. Because you're still exploring this.
Yeah.
Recommend this process, Tara.
Well, I'll let you know if I come out.
Would you recommend it?
So that's a no.
No, like, well, I mean, I've only literally, as in the last month, because I haven't done it before, like I said, and I had to try something new because I've had some really, really beautiful relationships, but they've also not been, like long-term, like we're having babies, we're getting married kind of relationships. So yeah, this is a new experience. I'll get back to you on the results, but it's not like meeting two different guys. And actually there's naturally tending to be there's a connection here. No, like it's not fire. I wouldn't have time for that. I mean, well, so, but it's an openness, I think, to seeing what resonates and who these people are. And maybe because of the stage I'm at, I may have looked at and in the past and been like, could this work? And I don't want to view a man as like an object or could you do that? Like I don't want to come in with expectations. And so I found this process for me allows me to just be like, let's just get curious about each other rather than trying to put them in a box of like, this is what I'm looking for. Do you fit into my box or not? And then feeling like they're being interviewed. Whereas if I'm like, who are you for who you are? And I'm taking all my pressures and ideas off, you can start to let a real connection through. And it could be friendship. It could be a business partnership. It could be a beautiful long-term relationship. So yeah, that's sort of what I've been experiencing. And it's actually been really beautiful. And it's actually helped me really appreciate men in a whole new way. Because I probably haven't slowed down and just appreciated different qualities of the masculine before like that. And, if a man, that like you can have a beautiful experience and a man takes you out for a lovely dinner and, like you're having this beautiful conversation. And then at the end, you're just like, you can, again, have a pretty good conversation of like, yeah, this is great. We can maybe feel there's not alignment here, but like, thank you for this and thank you for this. And I really love this quality about you. And they're probably dating and on the same kind of journey as well. So I found it quite beautiful, and it's helping me understand men a lot more and myself a lot more. And yeah.
Thank you. Because I'm not curious about that if I can.
She was so deep in thought for a long time, so I would love to hear what Kim has to say to us. Forward to whatever was going on in your mind.
I love the theory of the full-on plan. I know the real kind of thing, but I do like the theory of like multiple dating and keeping options open. But I agree with the not having sex with multiple people. 100%.
Yeah.
And I'm with any of the
No,
like that. Any of us too intimate.
yeah. Just you meeting different men. Like,
Yeah, I think it's super healthy because again, I am more the attachment type, and I can project this image and what I want someone to be, and I can try and make them fit. That was like an old version of me. So my practice is leaning more into this space too, and experimenting with what are the parts of a man that I really love, and when I'm in their energy, feels good in my body, and I can only do that if I'm kind of in the experiment of it. Like Sarah says, I think it's super healthy to be open in the beginning until you feel that next level of intimacy where you're like, whoa, this person touches my soul, which is when automatically it will just be obvious. And then you would obviously
cut all these other guys out.
friends. I still think it's really important to have guy and girl friends in our life.
So is it easy to have platonic, healthy, good relationships between man and woman? Do you think it's possible?
What do you mean platonic?
Just friends. Not romantic, there's no attraction. I think you could.
There can be attraction.
Oh, yeah?
I mean, I think so.
I think if there's attraction, it's not possible.
Not possible. Be lying if you say you're not attracted to other
I
people.
mean, it's possible. Yeah.
I think it'd be new. Good point. You're shutting off like your own human desires by saying that. If I was with a partner, totally in love, I would love to walk in the room and go, oh, they're attractive. But then again, it's like what we do with that.
Yeah. It's the appreciation. Like, you can appreciate other people, but you don't lust after them. You don't go like, you're attractive, I want, then I think it's, then you must.
It's possible, but it's possible up to a certain point. Like, let's say let's say I have a girlfriend that I am attracted to, and I'm in a relationship. I'm friends with a really attractive girl. Like, yeah, I can be friends with her, for sure. But if you're, let's say, constantly in situations where it's just the both of you together, it's like it's a situation, right? Like, you're gonna like keep seeing this person. Let's say, oh, let's go on lunch together, and then let's go on a dinner together, and then let's go there. It's like, okay, what is it? What's there? Like, is it just friendship, or how much does this attraction play a role in that interaction?
I haven't experienced it as a direct experience. So one of my partners, mentioning no names, I always had the suspicion that one of his friends, there was a bit more than just the friendness, because of, I intuitively knew he wasn't an integral man.
He was, or he wasn't?
He wasn't. And then more recently, I met a man who I met online, and then I flew to meet him, and we had such an incredible, deep, grounded experience, and I really felt his heart and his integrity. And he had this beautiful, amazing, blonde, long hair friend, and I had a bit of jealousy come up because of my previous experience. And I brought it to the table, and I said, listen, this is how I feel when you're in conversation with this person, when you go to meet them for coffee. And he was like, tell me, how can I make you feel more safe? Like, what can I do so that you're not feeling this way? Because I'm committed to you. Wow. And that only feels so good. Everything. So I think it's like, it depends on the man's integrity. And
yeah, that's true.
Reminds me of something that I've done with my partner back in Berlin. I was a bartender, in one of these popper clubs in Berlin. So I constantly got numbers from a lot of women, from gay men, like it happened all the time. And she was a very, very jealous person, also because of her ex-partner who just cheated on her multiple times. So what I did, I took all these numbers. I come home at 4 or 5 a.m. in the morning, I put them on the table, told her, those are the numbers from tonight, pretty much. And she got triggered, as you can possibly imagine. And I just kept doing it because I was like, look, those are your numbers. You can burn them, you can call them, you can do with them whatever you want. That's it. And then over time, she realized, oh, wait a second, this guy really like is so transparent and honest with me. And it basically over time took away that energetic charge that was there of like not being able to trust me.
Fascinating. Yeah, safety is my number one.
Yeah. I choose a very triggering way, man. Yeah, but I thought like, I can't avoid the fact that I'm getting those numbers, so I can like throw them away. And then she asked me, like, "Do you get some numbers?" Like, yes, I did. Like, or I'm just putting them on the table. It's like, it's all right here. I'm not hiding anything. You can do with it whatever you want.
And that's the thing about being an attractive person. Like, if you were willing to be with someone that is like attractively like beautiful, you gotta have some.
Yeah.
You have to. If you want to be with a beautiful person, you gotta have stomach. If you want to be with a charismatic person, you gotta have stomach. Otherwise, just pick someone else, But yeah, I love
That's interesting. I learned something there.
Oh yeah?
From that show. Just
What did you learn?
experiencing Naples. You choose a word. And what you were saying from the other side, from the female side, going, people are messaging me. This is what's happening, And then instead of going, oh my God, rather like you say, going, cool, perfect, It's the same thing, but coming from the other side.
Like with a bunch of men texting women online on Instagram or whatnot?
Yes, exactly. And text messages and this and this and this and this. And then, I'm getting like, look, it's what you're doing, but from the other side. And from my side, I'm going, well, that's a compliment. Surely. Depends on how you react to these, of course. If you're going to entertain these, then, whatever. But I trust because, you're doing what you did with the numbers. You're saying, here are the numbers. Do what you want with them. It's the same thing. It's digit. It was 2023. That's the fucking word.
When you shared that, my initial response, like I felt how she would feel in my body, and I felt so. And then I was like, why do you even need to bring them home? I was like, but then I realized, as you said, you kept doing it. And then my whole body was like I felt like, wow, I really trust that. And that level of like honesty, rather than her, because we energetically, we know everything anyway, right? So instead of just putting it to the forefront, rather than her thinking, oh, what is they're getting lots of numbers, you're like, I was. And here they are, and you can
You can call them, if you don't believe me or whatever, then like call these women and like try to figure out what happened or whatever, like, I was holding her when she was going through the stuff, but I thought like it's so much easier to, let's just put it on the table, because that's the truth. I can hide it, or I can put it on the table and like we acknowledge the fact that this is what's happening, and it's going to continue to happen, So how do we deal with that?
You can't control your look, Sasha.
It's hard being this ridiculous.
You mentioned something that's very beautiful, because she had an illusion of what was going, and you have put the illusion on the table, and were there to caress her and support her to see what was the actual reality. And then you're having a relationship more based on what is, and not what I think it is or what you think it is. But of course, there's pain involved, because we have traumas, we have things from the past that we bring into this. So it's very beautiful.
Thank you, brother.
It inspires.
Question for all the three women, because I think it's almost 2 hours. If there's one thing that you would need from a man, what is it?
Well, first of all, I was the only one who didn't talk about.
Oh, come on. I apologize. Please go on.
I'm just saying. I was like so excited to share.
Okay, go on. I apologize.
Question again, just so. If I'd ever dream.
Like, have you seen multiple men? Well, I guess I should say people. I don't know. Maybe you're throwing both ways. If you see multiple people.
Dating or?
Well, I guess kind of both, right? But on the women's side, I felt like it ended up being more like just seeing different people and not sleeping with different people. And here there was a little more openness. It was like, yeah, okay, I've slept with multiple women during the same time frame.
Yeah, so I'm definitely a monogamous person. I am not polyamorous. I have been in like this tantric world exploring and those retreats and things, and I don't know how they can do it. It's so much suffering. I'm not up for that. With that being said, when I was someone, I like my highest value. One of them is intimacy. So definitely, like, I'm not interested. If I'm with someone that I like, that's it. Like, I'm 100% in it, super loyal, super in it, committed to it. If the other person is committed to it.
And that's in the dating phase already?
No, wait. I'm just setting up the
Sure.
With that being said, when there's no commitment from the man, and I'm into it, and I am like, wow, this connection is amazing. I am in love, and there's no commitment yet, or maybe it will never be, but there's no commitment, and I'm just like, wow, enjoying the connection so much. And again, I think we are in a phase, here we are in our 30s, that we are ready, right? To build a family, to have babies. So we're very intentional with our dating lives. And what I would say from what you were saying was brilliant, I feel, is that when you are like, I'm ready to meet the man of my dreams and walk with him through the sunset, you know, like those scenes, like magnificent scenes. I'm ready for that. Like, let's walk with the hand. It's just so fun. So I'm ready for that, and I'm not afraid of expressing my desire to the man that I date. Right? This is what do you want? This is what I want. I want to walk. I want to give my head to the man of my dreams and walk through the sunset. Into the sunset with him. With that being said, this is the conversation. I am not desperate. I'm not in a rush. I have very high standards, and I'm really open just for the right connection, and I'm not in a rush. Like, so I am open to, exploring without sex if there's no clarity, and we can just see how it goes. But just so you know, I'm open for that. That's what I want. So I'm open to meeting other people.
Yeah.
And then you just keep meeting other people as long as it feels good to you. However, sometimes you find that one person that you like, and then you're like, I don't want to date anyone, but he hasn't committed yet. So what do? You force yourself to either you force yourself to like meet other people just so you can take the energy, fully density of the energy, or you're just gonna hold the energy of like, I will be in my peace, in my center. I'll meditate, I'll do yoga, I'll dance, I'll be with my girlfriends, I'll do everything, I'll work hard in my business, and I will see this person eventually. If something happens, if it doesn't happen, I'm just gonna have a heart broken, and I'm gonna survive, and then I have to heal and go to the next one. So like, there are choices, and that will be like where you at.
You see, that proves the point of the part of many partners. Like, go through it, heal this and that. Like yes, and I know. It's just the way things are. Yeah, of course.
But sometimes
None of us want to go through this whole process of empty sex and people and all the rest. There are times when I think you said it's not a fun process, but you learn every time, right? And if you think like me or maybe like you, and you want that thing, that thing that nobody can describe correctly, and that thing where your energies connect and your soul connects and your soul touches. If you want that, it's going to take time.
So basically, in like 2 sentences, what you said is like, I have this idea of that man that I want. If that man is not there, I'm going to continue to see multiple people. If that man is there, and he's not committing, then you either pick like, well, I'm forcing myself to see other people, or I'm waiting around, see what happens, and probably get my heart broken. Did I? That sounds it up.
Sounds like a risk.
Well, I mean, but life is made of risks. If you don't risk, and that's
What is commitment? Maybe he's already in his mind committed.
yeah. That's why communication is everything, right? I feel like the communication would be so. I think you should stop seeing other guys. Something like simple as that. Like, I want you to stop seeing other guys. Like, that's it.
Like, how do you commit without a label?
Because that I
We always have labels. I think I'm sorry, but it's like totally bullshit to not have any labels.
Yeah, and I also think that when we say we don't judge, it's also bullshit. Like, I think this, but I don't judge. And it's like, man, like if you don't judge, it's like imbecility because you were like there, so you have no discernment. So you have no discernment. That's what you're saying. Like, yeah, of course.
You need to
Like,
judging all the time. Do I like this one? Do I not like this one? Is this in line with me or not? Like, it's impossible not to have it.
Yeah.
But obviously, like, knowing, understanding that where you stand has nothing. When the problem is when there's projection, judgment, that I don't like what you're doing, and that will make it mean that will be like that will mean something about me because of what you're doing. That would trigger something in me. But essentially, that's the idea. Like, you're dating. If the person say, okay,
Do you think you could ask him
absolutely.
to say like, are you committed? And then you would get that satisfaction if he said, I am committed.
Yeah. I mean, if he's committed say that, then it's like the game's on. Then let's go. Let's build those lives a lot. Let's live like let's share the beautiful moments. But you've already doing that before. You have to be on that loving state even before. Because how are we going to want to commit with someone that you're not having an amazing time with? Yeah. It's like, so it's always about that flirting with your desires. You being able to completely detached of a thing that not completely attaches. You're holding the desire, but at the same time, like, with it, you're not completely obsessed. You're still holding like the void, right? Of the void is the place between where you were or where you are and where you want to be, because this is gonna be the constant. We're never, ever, ever gonna get what we want, because when we get there, we're gonna want more. And that's the thing about the feminine. We'll always want more. We always want more. Even if we have your commitment, we still will want more. So how can we hold our yearning for love, commitment, devotion, your presence, as we inspire you to be present without it? And how can you hold that for us as well?
Do you
That's right, I was like. And so this is also a response to your next question. I'm just gonna leave it at that. What do I need from men? I don't need this like a contained structure. I need stability. I need presence. I need clarity. I need to know when he's out. I need to just like let's be. Let it flow.
I think it's easier for a man to commit to you if you were only dating him, or if you were dating Philip.
I don't know. Okay, I need to back up.
Too.
I'm not dating 7 men. I'm dating maybe one, and then that leaves many.
It was not about you. It's interesting that you took this on as something.
Both you guys are like before, like I wouldn't date you, and I feel like
Who said that?
you both said that. Because I didn't
It's not part of that.
as I said, and dating at the moment. But this is my interesting question that I have when you go like, what are you gonna say? Around commitment for men, I'm interested on your perspective, because if you're really in your purpose and you're creating your life, I'm assuming, and again, you want a woman who's going to support your vision and like be a great mother and all the things. I don't know what you're looking for in women. So doesn't that take time to get to see what's really there? Not again, the first experiences, like, aren't you kind of taking time to kind of be able to commit
or can you meet someone and like, I'm committed straight away? Like, what's your commitment process that you kind of move through to get to a point where you're like, yeah, I can commit to this and I'm ready and I see it with you and let go? Because that's very interesting from our perspective. That's what we want.
I think it's also from. I think I mentioned this before. Like when are you ready to commit to a relationship? When a man is ready, when he has figured his shit out before, right? Like, so that's the first thing. Like this guy has his shit together. Okay, so he can't like he can't commit.
But there are different levels of having your shit together too.
Yeah, that's true.
So
That's true. But I mean, like,
Maybe it's vision and purpose.
okay,
If you
let's
locked in and you're like laser focused on that because you know you're not going to fail.
but then she's not the commitment, the number one, the priority, which she won't be anyway. Like in a
But she should never be the priority. Like
not the first priority.
not the first.
Always be a priority.
Yeah, yes, but not the first one.
Women on one level don't want to hear that, and on the other level, deeply
Yeah, of course.
know that.
This is
Because I respect, and that was my word, is like integrity. If I've had a partner before and he just starts to mold his life too much around me, I don't like it.
exactly.
Being
David.
doing what he needs to do, and that actually creates safety, which is probably, again, the word to feminine
David.
myself want, because you're like, yes, he's doing his things, like there's a safety and then a trust, because I know that he's fully in his integrity with himself, and that is such an attractive.
Yeah, you want something bigger than your relationship for him. I think David Data talks about this on The Way of the Superior Man.
And I really dropped into recently, like feeling into this, like partnership and everything. And I was really honest with myself, and I was like, actually, all I really want to do is like support a man in his vision. And I have a business, and I do like lots of things. And it was like a really beautiful realization I had with my coach. And when I felt into that, I was like, that actually feels so beautiful to let him be leading and doing what he loves to do. Obviously, there's alignment and values and all the rest. But being that supporter, cheerleader, I feel like dropping into that, knowing that was like, that is like, that would be a set. So guys feel about that.
Yeah, that's the way.
Yeah, you go.
Yeah. I'm a conservative. I'm a conservative in values.
You get some type of thing is like more like independent woman and things like that. That's where I was. That's now. I feel like needed to be more successful in order to be loved.
That's the leftist agenda in the world that's trying to liberate women and fuck up the families and destabilize society and destroy man, and it's nonsense.
It's the ideal side of feminism.
Happen. The girls would do nothing.
No, yeah. She shouldn't.
That.
Like
Nothing. I felt like dragging a bag of bricks behind.
yeah.
Actually,
I think this is like the evil side of feminism.
Yeah.
To make women believe the only thing that you need to do is become an independent, fully like you're in your power women, and you don't need men. That's the narrative in the radical way, right? And that just destroys everything, because a man doesn't want that kind of woman. You know,
A masculine man.
Yeah.
of course, yeah. If you have a feminine man and like want some, but that's not what you guys want, right? Most of the women, they don't want a feminine man. You know, but if you're a strong, powerful woman, the problem is you very often attract more feminine men, because you already need to have a lot of masculine traits in order to run your business, in order to do all these other things. You know,
Soft.
exactly. Well, that's the challenge.
true. I do have quite a lot of like masculine guy friends that have been like, I want this super feminine woman, kind of like what you were sharing. And then they attract that. And then they're like, but then she's so needy and her whole world is me, and it's heavy with she's financially, I've got to like, she can't pay for anything. And I feel like, and again, and then it's just your perspective. If you have some kind of financial sovereignty of your own, and then also get to choose and be provided and protected for, like, there's a choice. So you still can take that role, but it's not.
Yeah.
You get to choose to provide as you know, you want to, but not because she actually has no resources and no capability, and therefore you have to, like, I feel, I'm curious, but then we can choose our men because we love them. Yeah, really, exactly, not because, like, actually we need, like, a future plan in you, so the man is the plan.
It's a difficult thing to grasp, though, like, because women do, I think, so much. Like, you guys give the world other people. We don't do that, or I mean, we kind of do. What do you mean? Like, you guys,
The ability to give birth.
you guys give birth to, like, you guys create people from your bodies. It's a massive thing that you guys do.
Every month we get
Every month you have this. Exactly. And there is so much, and I do believe that guys are built more resilient. Our chemicals in our body make us more resilient to take on more pressures and things like that.
Women,
Yeah, and I was just going to say, like, so I have such huge respect for that. And then meeting, this previous partner and being like, okay, you do nothing. Like, literally, there's maybe a brunch with friends, and then it's nothing. There's no friction. But I also kind of understand how much you do or how much you will do in the future, and how much. But then after that, there's just, it was, I don't know. It was a confusing thing to kind of like grapple without being like pushing these women towards, you need to also be CEOs of companies, and you also need to do this, and you also need to do this, and you need to be completely independent of men, because I believe that we do need each other from a male and female perspective.
Women's always thinking, right? Well, again, I'll say from my perspective, like, when I have children, I don't want to work up, but I want to be fully present in that role. So for me, I like knowing I now have the capacity, and I don't want to.
yeah.
So I want to be the same, not at work for that period of time. Yeah. But helping out maybe not.
You said, like, if you have children, you don't want to work at all. You want to be fully present. Right?
Yeah.
What age range are we talking about? Like, for the rest of your life? Because you're going to have children until you die, pretty much.
Oh, yeah, not like the 18.
So, like, once you get pregnant, for the next 18 years, you don't want to...
I don't know, I think that would be really hard to say. Like, some mums, like, really want to go back to that straight away. And I work with a lot of women, a lot of mums, so I'm around that a lot. And sometimes I work with women that are, like, throwing themselves completely into that role of mother and children until they're 7 or 8. And then they're like, who am I as a lover? Who am I as a woman who has community and has friends outside of that? So I've seen many different ways it's done. I want the opportunity to be fully present and not have to work. Definitely know that, because financial stress and that. I want to be fully present, and that's my purpose. And then if inspired, and I know I will naturally, want to serve in some way, that there's the no.
I think that the answer is you should be able to
Free.
no like deal in the best possible way with the reality you have in front of you. Right, like there's just like we can be talking about the ideal situation, and then there's like in my so what would be an ideal situation? Women have an advantage on men because when you're born you have a biological if you don't know your purpose in life, you're built with it biologically, like you have the ability to give birth.
Is there any big purpose?
Yeah. That's exactly, like it's an advantage. Men have to figure out what they're doing with their lives. Like they have to wake up and be like, okay, I'm not this useless person that just consumes and pleasures myself and like what am I doing here? Like what do you do? So you go and you figure out and you bring that into your family, into your relationship, and that's what gives stability and the structure that women need. And ideally you can do that where it's a choice that your partner can work or not as much as she wants or not, but it's not always like that, right? Like life is hard and there's phases but I think ideally every man every strong man would want to provide and give this opportunity of like, okay, like ideally it's like my girlfriend, my wife will work if she wants to, as much as she wants to, and I'll give the platform that she will like.
And that's beautiful.
Yeah.
I think there's a danger in this mentality. My only purpose in life is to be a mother, and I don't want to do anything else and be fully present. Because of exactly what you said, you kind of lose yourself because you're only stepping into the role of being a mother. You have no idea like what it actually means to be a wife, to be a lover, you know, to be a girlfriend to others. Like, you know, I think there's, and you're also putting a lot of pressure actually on your kids, because your whole happiness, your whole like being satisfied and fulfilled with life is dependent on this little one. Sooner or later, that little one is going to leave you, living his own life. And then you're even in a more dangerous situation because like, what the hell is going on? Like my whole life and happiness was basically all dependent on that thing, that little one, to fulfill that thing. Meaning you're putting a lot of pressure on your little one.
No, and I think it's the opportunity to be present. You could have pretty wild kids and have no sleep for two, like you don't know. So it's very intentionally created a business where I can take time off and be present. I can dabble in and you know, but I feel like, yeah, you don't want to lose yourself in it, but you want to be able to not, like I work with single moms too, right? And like try to raise kids and have, you know, like it's a lot. And so I feel like you can set yourself up to make that easier.
So
We were
2.5 hours, maybe something like that. Let's come back to this one question because I'm really curious from all of you guys. What is this one thing that you would need for your partner? That what would you need from a man to be like, feel like, okay, yes, and vice versa? This is gotta be so different.
Need for what?
In their partnership, like what do you need from your partner? Like one of these really core things.
Or
just one.
Who wants to? I mean, like bring up a few if you have a few, but like, you know, obviously there are some major ones. Seems like you want to start. Safety. Okay. What does that mean? Like safety in what way? Like financially? No, but like financially or
Sorry,
okay.
financially, solid, purpose, all of that, but it's a feeling.
Sure.
Yeah, safety and communication. And the willingness to grow together.
Yeah.
This is long.
You mentioned very high standards. What was that top of the list?
I need like full trust that there's some sort of safety as well, but it's the same. It's a sense of like, okay, we are together. We're doing this. We're going through everything, no matter what happens. You know, we're doing this.
So that commitment.
It's commitment. I feel commitment, loyalty, and like, yeah, like presence. I don't need a man to be with me all the time, but when he's with me, I want him to feel me, and I want to feel him, his heart.
Okay. What do you need from your boyfriend?
I think an alignment and core values. You know, and I think you said it so well here, but if you're sitting around a table of people who like develop people's core values and things like that. But I think if you do, either you know it or you get that feeling, that weird, that you do align on core values and that other thing that I think very rare to experience, a little dust. I don't know what it is really, but it's there.
You mean the spark?
The spark
and the dust?
The dark, yeah. Let's not talk about that. But the spark, yeah, I think the spark's very important, and that's very rare. But I think I would need. I like that feeling, you know, and I think that's very important because that's going to stay with you for the rest of your life.
yeah, I agree. Love, growing. They are the syllabus. Yeah, but love, femininity, kindness, beauty. Like, beauty, I don't mean physically only, but bringing beauty to life. Like, yeah, that's it.
That is
it?
words.
Yeah.
Because the main thing is support.
Yeah.
Being supported by my woman in the visions and dreams and I have. And also having that love, compassion, acceptance, forgiveness. And when things arise, it's not us against each other. Things arise, it's like, okay, this is stones in your backpack, this is stones in my backpack. Are we willing to go together through this and not being in the pattern? So that's directly aligned with support. Okay, we're working as well as we can with what we know towards here, and along the way, I will get lost. We will support each other to come back home. And if we come to meet together, who can we ask for affection? So just leaving the pride that okay to support you, but sometimes I will fail. And you're going to support me, but sometimes we fail. But we're doing our best together. And I have a lot.
I know that is
Fun, yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking with humor. I was something I forgot to say, but it was on my list.
In between the deep work.
Nah, exciting it. Make it light. Make it. Life is already on.
Oh yeah, all that you actually said and put it on my list. Look at that.
I have another one.
Okay,
Respect.
yeah, I'll put that on my list.
You know, if a woman doesn't show and have that respect for me, for that relationship, for whatever we're doing,
Yeah, for sure.
the support and everything else,
sure.
the love, like, yeah, that's fine. But you can love someone and still don't show the respect.
I think that goes even without saying, right? Like it's like, yeah, man, yeah,
But not. You see it all the time.
yeah,
You know, you see couples like at a dinner table with a bunch of other people, and all of a sudden they make fuss.
yeah, and making fun out of each other. I think it's one of the most like the craziest things. If you see a couple and they're like making fun of it, like making fun in a way like you know, like yeah, you needed to lose an extra pound or
Poking it in.
and it's like, okay, these guys are done.
Yeah.
It's like it's playful. No, there's not. No, I mean, very lightly, very occasionally, but if you see it happening, it's like it's done.
No, I think, yeah, but you keep that to yourself.
Yeah, if you do it in front of other people,
Exactly.
like criticizing in front of other people, it's like the craziest thing.
I agree. I always say, like, you know, if one of the most important things that how a woman can contribute to the relationship and to her man is at all times showing respect.
Yeah, for sure.
The way how she communicates,
100%.
in the way how she operates in the world, you know, her going out and like wearing like very almost promiscuous outfits, that's part of disrespect to that relationship and to her man, you know.
But vice versa. As respect.
Absolutely. But we just heard, you know, respect was not necessary. Their safety, their security.
There's a big one last we just gave. And they just be other. I don't know. Smoking around. I don't know. I think they're friends.
No, but like, you know, like for
It's top priority to me.
it's top priority. So yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, like stuff bad. Do any damage early on in the relationship? It's very hard to forget that. So you want to like really from the beginning start aspect.
At least the first 3 months.
No, at all times.
Because there's something special. There's something important about the first 3 months also, but that's another conversation.
I know we could continue, but I want to be mindful of these things when
Then we kick a song. We'll just keep going here, please.
we can. Thank you. That was a really fun, juicy conversation. And actually we touched base on a lot of different things. So that's pretty cool. And maybe in Bali you find this a little bit more, but these conversations don't necessarily happen so much between men and women in such an open, honest, and transparent way. So I totally just want to acknowledge all of you guys for bringing you all to the table.
For creating this. the other you was very excited. Let's like
This was it was an easy conversation. To put a feminist on the other side of the table, like very hardcore one, and it's like completely different.
journey.
Cool.
You've got your next guest worked out. It was